I love touching myself all the time, but touching the hat is even more satisfying.
I'm just going to clip certain parts of that, and that'll be our intro. I just love touching myself. Talk shit. Hello and welcome back to Talk Shift. So how are we getting on?
Yeah, I think we're doing well. I mean, we're making money nowadays.
We are monetized. It is good.
It's almost like we can afford to live in London.
Almost. Almost.
I think it's a long way to go.
We stay out of my parents' loft. But that's fine. If you want to know how much we are making, that's probably made it into the Patreon version, so you can go and check that out. See, we're plugging it this early.
Yeah.
But I do want to start, as we normally do, by going through some of the comments from last episode.
Go on then.
Before we get there, actually, there was one in particular that I want to bring up. Obviously, we're now both 25.
Yeah, correct.
Our brains are fully developed.
Yeah.
Which is fucking frightening, quite frankly.
Yeah.
You've read the comments from last week, right?
Yeah, I've read some of them.
Where's my birthday cake then?
Well, where's my birthday cake?
Doesn't say that I bring you a birthday cake. It says you bring me a birthday cake.
I mean, if you want a birthday happy ending, that's something I can give to you.
Oh, no. I'm good. I was expecting a fat joke there, but no. Brilliant. You've evolved slightly.
I mean, that's what you do for your friends, right?
No.
And also, I'm more mature than that now.
Are you?
I've grown up.
You've grown up?
Yes, I've grown up. You've grown wider.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. There it is. I was going to say, if you've grown up, the comment section definitely haven't, because once again, I've received the brunt of the insults. I did decide to get into my Discord last week, and I very rarely do this because I'm scared of what I find every time I go in there. But I saw this comment that said, make another Stroll video, rent is due. That is so true for F1 YouTube. That is so true. It's so true. So I thought, you know what? I'm feeling nice. It's my birthday. I'm going to respond. We're going to make someone's day. Okay. And I said, I'm sure we'll get to one at some point. Okay. Not a whole lot of effort on my part.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he'll appreciate that. What does he say? Okay, Eggman. What did I do to deserve that?
Just exist, I guess.
Yeah, evidently. So I thought, you know, I'm going to respond with that.
Yeah.
Do I get a response? Not for a minute. And then?
I mean, you should. To be honest, if we were to go to Comic-Con, you would work the Eggman shirt. Honestly.
No. Oh my god!
I'm not sure if I would do Sonic very well.
No, that would be frightening. You'd be more nightmare fuel than the original Sonic design they came up with for the films a few years ago.
I mean, Shadow? He has a bike, but he also has a gun, and I don't think I'd be allowed in London with that.
No,
I think
you have to go to America for that version.
They definitely have the raw idea if they saw me with a gun.
Oh, that's a good point. Maybe you couldn't go in there.
Do you remember why? So originally I was a mod on your Discord server.
Were you?
Do you remember why I'm not a mod anymore?
No, I don't remember making you a mod.
Do you genuinely not?
No, I genuinely don't remember.
So there was a comment I made, right?
Oh no.
That I was going to ban one person at random in your Discord server, and
which was probably the total of the Discord server at that point.
All of a sudden, you removed my mod status.
Yeah, probably. I can see why. Because there was probably only one other person in that Discord at that stage. So, because it must have been that long ago.
Yeah, it was.
How stupid was I for even making you a mod in the first place?
I'm a good Discord moderator, I'll have you know. My Discord communities are very happy.
Are they?
Do you want to go? This will be on the Patreon version.
Oh, good. I don't know how I'm going to cut this in.
I'll show you some. One of my main Discords. We've got a confessions channel, which is amazing. You can go through the confessions.
Oh, can I read? Can I read a random confession?
Yeah, this is an anonymous confession. So we
it is all anonymous as well.
Yeah,
this
so
is
give
great.
Them hearts or we give them fires. So either you're being forgiven or you're going to hell.
I had a dream last night that I was on a date and I tried to stop myself from waking up.
Yep.
Didn't realise I was in this Discord server.
Go on, keep going. The great thing is you don't even know who it is.
Yeah. This is great. Maybe I'll make you a mod again. You can add this to my one.
It's a really good idea, isn't it?
This is good. I overslept for work today because I was dreaming about beating up annoying kids in lower years at my old high school. I'm loving this. We could do a whole podcast just reading these out. We should add this to the FP1 Discord and do an entire episode of reading out FP1 fan confessions.
You say, but I am a good Discord moderator. I know how to treat my
that is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. Oh my God. Because of Thomas the Tank Engine, whenever I see steam trains getting refilled with coal and water, I think yummy, and the water looks very refreshing.
What? I don't remember that one.
That was the 24th of May 2024, almost a year ago to the day. Wow. The in front of my cereal meme a few years ago made me less sensitive to seeing male on male gay sex. On that note, I'll hand that back to you.
So that's one of the channels.
Oh God, there's not more.
So we have the normal ones. We have like Go Sports, where we talk about sports.
This is the Formula One podcast. Can we just get that out there?
Yeah, but half the time we're just talking shit. This is on the Patreon version anyway.
I don't think it is. I think I might leave it in. This is a taste of what the Patreon version is like. Shall we move on? We were talking about
there's
comments.
One more channel, which
no.
I should mention, which is the quote book. I do this in the other server.
The quote book.
Yes, the quote book, where we list lots of quotes. And don't mention the names of who's saying it.
I won't. I'll cut the names out.
But
if it's you, can I say the name?
Yeah, if it's me, you can say the name.
I could just read out some of your quotes. First of all, you need to be cheated on. I don't know. You need a diagnosis. Oh, that was said to you. Apparently, you need to be cheated on.
Yeah. So the person who was saying that with me was telling me that
you need a girlfriend first, which is not happening.
Yeah, no, but if I got cheated on, they were saying it would build my character.
I can't read the other one out. I've looked at one more.
No,
I've locked my phone. You can have that back. If I read that out, that would be the end of talk shift there and then.
Read different ones.
Don't give it back to me.
No, read different ones. There's lots of good ones.
Because I actually do know some of the people in this now.
Yeah, but this is a public server.
Oh. Is she going to anal you? I hope so. Apparently, I said that. Let's move on.
Anyway, so we should add both of these channels to your Discord server.
Definitely the confessions one. That would be funny. Moving on, I was going to talk about the YouTube comments. We'll gloss over them a little bit quicker now because we did have a few more comments from last week. I don't know how many minutes we are into the podcast now. We've not spoken about anything Formula One related. We'll get there in the end, I promise. But there was a few more from me. Will looking like Nikocado Avocado before the diet.
That's amazing.
It's just not original. Here's another one. Same person. Best joke of the episode. Will saying he's only slightly fat.
Oh, that is amazing.
I've lost a lot of weight in the last year.
But not you. I think you gained in the last week.
It gained some muscle in the last week. There you go.
You tell yourself that.
Moving on. Jonah Hill, but old cheeseburger Jonah Hill, not new hipster Ozempic Jonah Hill.
Wow.
That's not original at all because I've been called Jonah Mountain in the past. So
well, yeah, so
that's boring.
Yeah.
Just get good already. And was the Talk Shift merch too big for Soheb to wear?
So this is a fat joke about me?
No, that's a fat joke about me.
Oh, okay.
It was there's apparently sizes that only fit me, so they can't fit you, is essentially where that's coming from.
People last week were just complimenting me. It was so strange.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm never got compliments in my whole life. My mum left me at birth.
What backstory you cry? How long before the GoFundMe comes out?
But my manager, genuinely, he calls me a dick all the time.
How many terminal illnesses do you have as well?
It's not a lie. My manager, every now and again, he just goes like
that. He's not confided that I'm his manager at this stage, and that's completely true as well.
You are my manager, aren't you?
I'm glad that you finally have learnt your place. Good. All right. You did get a few insults in though this in the last week, so here we go. The fat jokes are getting out of hand. Oh, this is another one about me. Never mind. The fat jokes are getting out of hand. Will isn't fat, he's just short for his weight. Sorry, I didn't realise we had an extra Will joke in there. That's fine. Maybe this one will be about you. Here we go. Soheb has thoughts. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
it is interesting.
I feel like if anyone got inside my head, they'll be very scared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think they get brain damage, honestly.
Yeah. Having been close, I feel like the brain damage, it's like periods, it sort of syncs up. I've kind of synced up to your brain damage at this stage in the 9 weeks that we've been doing this now.
Oh, I thought you meant like a girl's period.
Well, that's what I was referring to before, yeah.
I don't know how girls' periods work.
Right, this is the sort of shit I'm on about. But last one is Hussein sitting on your couch there.
I don't. It's just call me Hussein.
Saddam Hussein.
Oh, well, I might have family that are related. Yeah, I wouldn't be
No,
surprised.
you don't.
I wouldn't actually be surprised.
Oh, good.
I mean, my family are surprisingly well off in a not well off country, back in Pakistan. So I wouldn't actually be surprised. Maybe I should look into it.
Yeah, maybe don't.
Yeah.
Maybe don't. Maybe don't. Oh, Christ.
Viewers, if you want to fund someone who's associated with Saddam Hussein.
What is that show where they go back and they look up family trees? What's that called?
Oh yeah, I know which one you're talking
What's
about.
that called?
I know.
We'll get you set up on Ancestry.com, but there's a show, I can't remember what it's called.
I remember there was one woman, right? She was black, and so she originally.
I hate the fact that you've brought that up because I'm already thinking Patreon. Hello.
Originally, like one of her family members was a slave, and then she wrote she went through the ranks, and then her family member she became like the slave owner, and she became like she became a slave owner later. And in the show, she was like, "Oh, she's retaken her liberty, and but she's literally a slave owner. What are you talking about?"
I mean, I've already got in trouble this week for calling Hamilton the diversity hire, so I'm just going to stay quiet on this one. Anyway,
move on from that.
One final comment. Big up to Atara, the first ever Talk Shift member on YouTube. Funding another unknown Chris Packett for Soheb. Round of applause for Atara.
You know what, Atara?
Legend.
I'll accept that. And you know what? With that comment, I can fund a Chris Packett.
Wow, you can now.
That comment funds a Chris Packett.
So if you'd like to fund another Chris Packett for Soheb, do join the members club. There's a whole outtakes reel to this episode and every episode we've done of Talk Shift so far, and there's just plenty more, far more cancelable content for you to enjoy. That's the next plug out the way.
We talk a lot of shift, don't we?
We talk a lot of shift. Hence why we're probably, I don't know how many minutes we're into the episode. At least 10, 15 at this stage,
Nothing
probably.
Motor racing, right?
Nothing. Shall we get to something motor racing related?
Go on, then.
I'm sure you've seen this video of Oscar Piastri going around. This is him after winning the Miami Grand Prix. Very, very happy. Runs around and then tries to do a dance. Tries to do the griddy. Here it is. Coming up in just a second. Here we go. Tries to do the griddy and it doesn't really work. It's a pretty piss poor attempt at the griddy. But I didn't realise that Oscar Piastri has a history of this.
Oh. Do you know what it looks like? It looks like he's doing it, but he's so embarrassed that he just stops himself from doing it.
Yes. Yeah. And that is a running theme with these as well. Have you seen this infamous Prema video yet?
I'm not sure. Let's take a look.
So Oscar Piastri, of course, in the junior formulas, spent a lot of time with the Prema Formula 2 and Formula 3 teams. Yeah. And this clip resurfaced this week of him trying to do the floss. Now, you're familiar with what the floss is? Yeah. Oscar Piastri wasn't familiar with what the floss is.
Oh, dear.
Robert Schwartz was doing a pretty decent job on the left.
Good old Bobby Schwartzy.
Yeah, he can practice that now in the garage in IndyCar because his IndyCar just doesn't work. That's all he spends his time doing now. I have no idea who the little girl is in the front.
Probably one of the grid kids.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a joke for it. I've been trying to think of a joke for hours, and anything I come to, I'm just like, no, I can't risk it.
I mean, the thing is, so Oscar isn't the most passionate person, I would say.
I think he is behind closed doors.
But he doesn't really show a lot of emotion. So why would he show a lot of emotion in his dancing? Like, if he were to draw an art piece, he'd probably draw a few squiggles and that's it.
That can go for a few million nowadays, though. That's the thing.
That's a good point, yeah.
Hitler would have loved it in this day and age. He would never have been radicalized. He would have just done a little dot on a canvas, and then that would have been enough for, happy life. Sat in the Austrian hills somewhere. Maybe he still did in the end,
and he would get along a lot with Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye and Hitler, just
Maybe he could. Maybe Hitler would make diss tracks.
Hitler diss track. That sounds like a task for AI at some point.
Oh, dear. Right, shall we move on from that?
Let's move on from that. Yeah.
Before we get cancelled.
Okay. Ben Salayem has been in the news this week,
Yep.
which is always good news for us because
Yep,
it gives us
that's
something to
free
talk about.
content.
It is free content. Now, I know you're already familiar with Carlos Sainz Sr. going for or potentially going for the FIA presidency
Yep.
role. Can I get your views on that first? I know we've not spoken about it.
It's a bit complicated because Carlos Sainz, I really do like Carlos Sainz Sr.
Yeah.
I think he has a lot of he's really one of the greats in rally racing. If the viewers don't know, he took part in the Group B era of rally, and that is unbelievably legendary. He's part of Audi, and those cars they were race cars driving on dirt. It was unbelievable how fast those cars were, and so he has a lot of experience throughout the motoring world. And he also has experience in safety. He did a lot for safety regulations. So on paper, I think he is the most. He is a really, really good candidate. I mean, who could get better? But I don't think you can put down how big the conflict of interest conversation would be.
This
right?
is what I was going to bring up.
Because it's not a little thing. Because any decision he would make that would benefit Williams or Carlos Sainz Jr., any of those decisions will be put into question.
Yeah.
I think that would just completely stop it in its tracks, to be honest.
Yeah, and obviously he's also Carlos's manager at the moment. Now, Carlos came out today and said, yeah, basically if he became president, we would part ways, which sounds kind of sad, I think, a little bit.
I know, but I think it's family. I mean,
it won't be enough, though, will it?
It's like a team owner hiring their son to be a driver.
I know. Can you imagine? That's never happened before, though, so that's okay.
I know, right? That'd be complete nepotism. No shareholders will allow it.
Yeah. No, definitely, never. Yeah. Ben Salayem, though, he's weighed in on this a little bit.
Yeah.
He has tried to pass a new rule, or he's trying to pass a new rule this week.
Oh, go on.
Said rule would give the FIA president authority, and I'm not making this up, would give the FIA president authority to veto any candidates who want to go for presidency in the future.
No, what's the exact wording?
That is the exact wording.
Go on.
That is genuinely true. Right, you're looking this up. Go and look this up.
I'm going to
look this up. This is genuinely true.
What do I type in?
Just type in Ben Salayem. It will come up. He wants to have the ability to veto people that want to compete for his job. I know we were talking about Hitler earlier. This is the new Hitler. BBC Sport has seen a confidential document containing the proposed revisions, which are set to be voted on at a meeting at the FIA General Council Assembly next month.
Yep.
These bring forward the deadline for candidates for December's presidential election, give Ben Salayem the possibility to bar any candidate from running against him, and allow him more control over membership of the FIA Senate.
So he becomes.
They're even using the word
dictator.
FIA Senate. This is just Emperor Palpatine at this stage.
He's literally a dictator.
He's literally gone, I am the Senate at this stage.
But so if he can ban, what does that not have any terms against it? He could just be like, sorry, Carlos, I think you're a threat.
Bye.
I'm gonna Putin you.
It is utterly bonkers.
Oh my god! They take the politics out of sport. Politics is sport. Jesus Christ!
I can't see it going through. But also, Ben Salayem has kicked out anyone who is remotely close to opposing him, to the stage where he's in a circle. It's just basically his best buddies that want to stay there, and probably know for a fact that they're out of a job if Ben Salayem goes.
The people that have left, first of all, are the people that actually have a backbone, right? So
Yeah.
the UK head of motorsport and the vice president, they left because of what Ben Salayem was turning the FIA into. And did you see at the grid walk last week? 2 weeks ago, he and the president of FIFA shook hands. It was like, this is the most corrupt handshake in all of sports.
Is it the same? Is that Sepp Blatter? Is it the same president of FIFA that tried the whole "Today I feel disabled" line, or is that a different FIFA president?
That was a different one. He was the one that said
FIFA are great at hiring presidents, aren't they?
He was the one that said there's no corruption in FIFA.
Now, I know very little about football. I know bugger all about football, but I kind of disagree with that.
But yeah, so Ben Salayem is really it seems like he's power hungry. He's doing whatever he can to have power. He's hiding everything the FIA does. I mean, what do the FIA get their money on and spend their money on from these fines? What the hell are they doing with
We've
it?
been discussing it for weeks, and we have no idea. There weren't enough good
No
suggestions
one-
in the
no
comments.
one-
Nobody knew.
No
Nobody
one
knew.
knows. It's crazy.
So again, if you think you know, this is our second plea. Head down to the comments. What do you think the FIA spend their fines on?
Yeah.
Because we haven't got a clue. We haven't got a clue. The best ones we'll read out next week. I think I said that last time we didn't do it, but this time I promise I will. I actually want to call you out.
Yeah.
When we finished recording last week, you said to me, and I quote, "Honestly, who is this Franz Hermann guy? He's like some AI driver." And I very quickly realised you had no idea about what was going on.
Well, yeah, because all I saw was a Reddit post, right, of some guy called Franz Hermann. I didn't see any pictures. Well, I saw the pictures of the Verstappen car, but I didn't see Verstappen in it. I just thought, like, why is this driver just out of complete nowhere? Why is he being promoted to everyone? It's like he's been like pushed through an agenda or something like that.
So for those that don't know, Franz Hermann is Max Verstappen.
Yes.
There was a
With a
interview
moustache.
yeah. It'd be great if he actually wore that, wouldn't it? The best disguise ever. But he came out in an interview in the last couple of days and said he just wants to find the most German-sounding name possible. I'm not going to lie. If it was me doing this, you had to come up with any fake name you wanted. I would have had so much more fun with that.
Yeah.
Like it would just be. You remember you're in school and you had what was that called? The thing you used to log into in your phone, Kahoot.
Yeah.
It would be just all the Kahoot names. It would. It just would be all the
I'm
Kahoot
trying to
names.
think of like really
Bend
German...
over, all of those. You know what I'm on about, man. That would be my fake name. It would be class.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that as well? You've just done a lap at the Nordschleife and you think, oh, it's a good lap. Who beat me? I'll bend over. Bend over's just set the lap record around the Nordschleife.
That'd
be great.
Like, you know that one Top Gear episode of Sabine Schmidt that was overtaking people in the van. Imagine being in a sports car and being overtaken by a van. That's what it feel like.
Getting back to it though, the whole point was for him to supposedly stay anonymous.
Yeah.
Like this entire thing. Now, if you want to stay anonymous, I'm not going to lie, why would you show up in that?
So
A massive Red Bull branded car with Verstappen.com slapped all over it. It's not really screaming anonymous, is it? And it didn't really help him with his helmet design either. He clearly thought, oh, I'll have a new helmet for this that won't make people think I'm Max Verstappen at all. There's his helmet design.
That is actually just his helmet.
It's just his helmet design,
his
but
helmet.
he's taken the Red Bull signs off and any sponsors off. Oh, that can't be Max Verstappen. No way.
No, it's not just his helmet design. That is his helmet. That's his normal helmet.
What, just with the sponsors taken off?
Yes, that is actually his helmet.
So it's just I don't get it. If you were gonna go all anonymous, fair enough. But it was kind of cool though, I think, and seeing an F1 driver in their prime as well, arguably on a track like that, and he set the lap record as well.
Yeah, not surprised.
I'm not
He's
surprised
such
either.
a crazy driver. The Nordschleife, I love driving the Nordschleife. It's so much fun.
You've never been to the Nordschleife. You're talking about simulators.
Yeah,
here,
I'm talking
aren't
about ATC, of course.
Yeah, okay.
And the Assetto Corsa classic as well. But yeah, Nordschleife are such a unique track, one of a kind nowadays. There used to be more tracks that were death traps.
I just prefer driving the old Spa layout because you can just take off up Eau Rouge. Just go through someone's bedroom window if not fancying it.
Yeah, that does sound quite funny. But yeah, it's really cool because I know Red Bull 2 years ago they blocked him from doing the Nordschleife. Was it?
Yeah.
Was that 2020? Sorry. When did they go to the Nürburgring GP?
That would have been 2020. Yeah, for the Eiffel Grand Prix.
Yeah, and there was a few drivers. I know Yuki did it with Gasly, which was his teammate at the time, and they went around it, and that's a really good video. I'd highly recommend watching that video. It's just really good vibes, which we might play if we get demonetized or not.
Oh.
But they're behind a Miata driver, and this Miata just takes like one of the final right-handers completely flat, and Yuki and Gasly, they're like, oh my god, that's the best thing I've ever seen.
There was one more thing on this, because while I was getting images for this, I stumbled across something utterly beautiful, because Etsy has already taken this over. You can now get Franz Hermann merch.
What if we fucked in the Franz Hermann bed?
No, I know I bought you the Ferrari cum hat. I'm not buying you one of those.
To be honest, I feel like F1 fans are quite mentally ill, a lot of them.
I tell you what, actually, I'm going to regret saying this. If this episode gets 10,000 views. The next opportunity, I will buy that. We'll do a podcast in the Franz Hermann bed.
Yes.
10,000 views. I really worry about that. That's quite low.
Are we gonna cuddle?
That's up to you, mate.
Maybe we'll get 15,000 views.
Maybe 15,000 views.
15,000 views will come.
20,000 views, we go tip to tip.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, beyond that,
Beyond that,
how comfortable are you feeling?
OnlyFans.
Yeah. Sorry, Patreon, you're not getting that version. Let's move on.
Please.
So we have a race this weekend.
Yeah.
We're in Imola. We got all our Imola jokes out the way last week, so we've got to
100%.
Got to be a bit more original this time around. Predictions, though, I don't know whether you were trying to embody Senna with yours.
I mean,
in that there is now a hole straight through your brain, but Antonelli third.
I mean,
what
you think? Well, I also think that Hamilton, Senna is his idol, and Senna has a thing about going off, and so I think he's going to duplicate that as well.
Right, we lost all our Brazilian viewership last week. It's nothing to fear this time around.
I think Hamilton, he's going to replicate Senna as much as he can, and really send it down Tamburello.
Okay. Thankfully, they've reprofiled that corner now.
Thankfully, yeah.
Trust take the old. No. We move on. Let's talk about Piastri first, because that's what we've disagreed. You've said Piastri, I've said Norris. So I'll let you go first.
I think that Imola is a proper driver's track. It's really difficult. So Miami is somewhat difficult, but it's not like I would put in probably 6, 7 out of 10 in the difficulty scale. Imola is really difficult. Imola's like a 9 out of 10 difficulty rating, I would say. There's so many different kind of corners. There's so many places where if you go slightly off, you'll hit the curb on the inside. You can send your car flying. You can lose time in so many places. So I've gone, because the field is so close together, I've gone with who I think the best drivers are currently. So I think Piastri, he's the second, I'd say he's probably in the top 3 best drivers. But he is in the best car. So I put Piastri first.
Yep.
Verstappen is the best driver, full stop. That's not really a question, is it?
Yeah.
Verstappen is the best driver. And so I think he'll get a lot of it, especially in qualifying. I think he'll do very well. And Antonelli, the reason is because this is the start of the European leg, and Antonelli is very famously good in Europe. He's very, very good in Europe. So I think that he'll prove quite strong this weekend.
Okay. I think Anthony third is a push.
It is a push.
I think it's a big push. However, what I will say, and what I didn't factor with my predictions, is it is due to rain on Sunday.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I was going to look at the weather, actually.
I think it's dry Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday it tips it down.
Let's see. Emilia-Romagna.
And yeah, I think while you do that, I'll explain my Norris prediction, because my ideology going into this is if I keep predicting Norris fastest and Norris first, one day it will eventually happen.
But I had that same prediction in one of the early episodes, and you called me stupid for it. But I did say that he's going to make positions in the first lap.
Yes, and then kind of the opposite happened, didn't it? So yeah, but
Norris is a strange one, because it's so hard to predict these every week, because anything could really happen. Norris could win it. I feel like this top 3, anything could really happen.
If we have rain, it could throw a cat amongst the pigeons. I don't think McLaren will win a wet race. I can say it. A wet race.
A rat race.
A wet race.
But also
can't make the joke that's in my head right now.
Oh God.
And here it goes across the room.
All right, let's move on from that thought.
Yeah.
Also, they have the new softest compound. They have the C6 tire this weekend as well. So they I thought they were only going to put that in for Monaco, but then they put it in for Imola as well, because Imola it's a cool track, but it's pretty boring as a race.
Yeah, and this is of course Imola's last currently scheduled race on the calendar. Their deal runs out at the end of this year. And there's a lot of talk about Imola not coming back. And do you know what? And I know I've had views on things like Suzuka and that being a boring circuit and not suited for the modern day cars, but I think if we lost Imola again, it would be sad. Because while I'll admit it doesn't give us the best racing. I think from an action point of view, we've had some cracking races there since it's been back from, what was it, 2020 it came back, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2021 was an excellent race.
Oh, it was.
That was really,
and that
really
had
good.
rain. And that's the thing, with Imola, you do get rain fairly frequently. So I think, we, or at least over the last few years we have anyway, and anytime it has tipped it down, we've had an exciting Grand Prix. 2021, of course, being the highlight to that.
It's so strange because that race was one of the most dominant races ever.
Yeah.
Because Verstappen, they put a shot out that Verstappen was 70 seconds ahead of P2 Lewis Hamilton. He almost lapped him in P2.
Was that after Hamilton went off though?
No, Hamilton was not even close, but he was pushing. How in that race, Hamilton and Verstappen were completely in a league of their own.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I mean, over that entire season they were.
They were, yeah. Well, Bottas wasn't getting Bottas in that race. Oh dear, why is he in P10? Anyway.
Was that the same race where he collided with Russell as well?
Yes.
And then slapped him?
Yeah, that actually saved Hamilton because Hamilton put in the gravel.
Yes.
And just as he rejoined, the crash happened.
Was it a red flag or was it a...
It was a red flag.
Yeah, it was a red flag.
I mean, there was debris literally everywhere. It was scattered everywhere. I think Kimi was driving that, not Kimi Antonelli, the original Kimi.
Your mic is now pointing into your ear.
Hello.
Nice one.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I still think
Kimi Raikkonen.
There was another comment that told us to move your mic back down to your arse after last week. So maybe we should do that.
I mean, it seems like the viewers are quite obsessed with my arse. Anyway, yeah. Kimi Raikkonen was driving.
That are, but that's fine.
Kimi Raikkonen was driving behind them, and I remember he got completely scattered with debris everywhere. But as much as I think, Imola has had some cool moments, I think it's a strange one because I do think Italy should have. I think Italy is good enough to have 2 Grand Prix. I think it does deserve it because of the motorsport culture it has.
Yeah.
But also, there's no Germany and there's no France, and that's a crime.
But there's 3 in America.
There's 3 in America. You got 1 in Qatar. I don't know why Qatar should be a thing. Qatar is such a
It's so dull.
Qatar, it's a boring racetrack. The only cool thing about it is those 3 right-handers that you take like flat out, and then you go almost flat out. But apart from that, it's really boring. There's no atmosphere. There's not even any crowd there. For bike racing.
It's a great motorcycle racing circuit, but it's just not great for Formula 1.
Yeah, I really don't like it.
But are they not moving to a new venue at some point?
What, the one that goes like in the sky?
I think that's what Jeddah's turning into.
Oh, is that Jeddah? No,
Jeddah has got a literal death drop if you have a brake failure at the end of that ramp.
So no,
you just catapult straight off it.
So no, Qatar, they were originally gonna make their own circuit.
Yeah, was it Lusail? No, am I mixing that up? Lusail? They're currently out of Lusail. That's it.
But they abandoned those plans and now it's at this track full time.
Oh,
they
good.
did abandon those plans.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can sack that off then.
Yep. So we get that race. But we don't get Hockenheim. Not having Hockenheim, because I think having either Hockenheim or Nürburgring GP would be really good. I prefer Hockenheim. I've drove that track to bits on Forza. I love that track.
It is a nice circuit. And again, we've had some cracking races over there.
Yeah.
2018, when Vettel went off on the rain, and then 2019 was the year after, which was just one of my favourite F1 races of all time. Absolutely incredible Grand Prix. Kvyat third in that one as well. That was 2020, wasn't it? Yeah, because it was the Gasly. No, hang on, was that 2019? 2019.
I think it was
the Gasly year.
It's a really unique track as well. The layout, it feels different to everything else. So I think we should have that, even if it's on like a 1 year on, 1 year off basis.
Yeah, like we've got Spa doing that now, which I still think is utterly criminal.
That's a crime.
That is, unbelievable. But this is my worry. We are losing these incredible venues at an alarming rate. Spa is becoming 1 race on, 1 race off. That was what Hockenheim became before it fell off the calendar eventually.
Yeah.
Because it used to alternate. I don't think it was backed by the government. I think they just didn't have funding for it. And it was all financial led, and they couldn't pay the Bernie's fees or Liberty's fees, whoever it was at the time. But yeah, it's so sad. So sad.
I know Tomo also goes on about Kyle Arby.
Oh, here we go. He's on about Tomo again.
I do. Tomo does give me a hard on, I can't lie.
Yeah.
I do like Tomo.
I should get you a Tomo branded dildo you can suck on at night at this rate.
Can you?
Fuck off.
Tomo, if you would like to give me a branded dildo, I would be very happy.
Good. Tomo is never coming on the podcast now. You've scared him off.
But no, he goes on about Kyalami, and I do actually think Kyalami would be really cool. I think we should. It's a world championship, so we need a race in Africa.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's well, my only thing with Kyalami, I think, on the face of it, great circuit for older Formula One cars. My worry is because they are so fat now, it just doesn't fit. It's a bit like with Zandvoort. Again, Zandvoort, possibility to be a great circuit, but you just can't pass there, and that's my only worry with Kyalami as well.
You say that, but the race we attended, that was
the
great.
race we attended was great,
fantastic.
but it did tip it down that race. This was 2023 for record, but that I think was
a one-off.
It was a one-off. If you get a dry race around there where we usually do, And I'm convinced half that rain was my tears through Ricciardo essentially ending his career in that weekend as well. We got to pay witness to that. So.
Yeah, I got Alonso overtaking for P2, and you got Ricciardo.
And I got Ricciardo breaking his wanking hand. Yeah,
we had very conflicting weekends.
We really did. We really did. Oh god, that was a fun weekend. We could do an entire episode talking about that.
We went to the red light district.
We did. Should we move past that?
Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Let's go to your prediction. So why have you put Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, and also Colapinto P20?
So as I said, Norris was there because he'll win eventually, probably. Piastri will therefore be second, because Piastri, and then Verstappen. It's a really safe prediction. If you swap around the McLaren drivers, it becomes even safer. So I took a little bit of risk in putting Norris first.
You remember the meme, Hanver Bot?
Yeah.
I think this is the new one. This is
Pierre Norver.
Yeah. Pierre, it doesn't have the same ring, though.
Pierre Norver. Pierre Norver.
Pierre Vernor.
Pierre Vernor.
It really doesn't have the same.
No.
Hanver Bot.
Hanver Bot was, Yeah. I'm really gutted that Doohan's gone now. I can't make any doo-doo jokes anymore.
Wow.
I never made any, and I've lost my opportunity.
You're saying that your brain is fully developed?
Apparently it is, yeah. That's a frightening prospect, isn't it? But on the subject of Doohan, in fact, not on the subject of Doohan because he's gone, but Colapinto, I think it's going to be a baptism of fire.
Is this because he was very crash happy towards the end of his career? Yeah, last year.
Yeah, well, I think partly that. I also think he's coming into a car mid-season again, a car that he has limited experience of, if any. I don't think he's driven this year's car.
I have seen the stats. He's done I think it's 60 laps in the car and doing
in the current car. Yeah. In the current, okay, yeah. So I think
he's not done much.
Yeah, and around a circuit like Imola as well, it could work. It's probably not the worst track to make your return at, should we say?
Why not? I think it's a really difficult track.
But in comparison to say if we put him in for Monaco,
or
we put him in for a street circuit, he has runoff to escape to if things go wrong.
That's true. Yeah.
But I think that's going to be messy. I think P20 in quali. I think he'll grow over the course of the season. I know we spoke so much about the Alpine situation last week, but we didn't actually mention Colapinto at all because we're really planned on this podcast. We really do plan this out. But yeah, I just think, I don't know. He just doesn't wow me as much as everybody else seems to be wowed by him.
But the reason why he wowed everyone is because he performed under like no one expected him to do anything, and he performed very well.
No,
that's why people.
He had to be better than Sargent though, which isn't it's not the highest bar, is it?
But also he was knocking on the door and even outperforming Albon.
I'll give you that. Yeah, he was. But then of course the second half of the year came and it was just crashes.
Yeah, and
that's going to be a problem for Alpine. I just think they're replacing one crash-happy mid-driver with another crash-happy mid-driver.
Oh, it's just Alpine.
Maybe a slightly better driver. I'm not saying Doohan's better than Colapinto. I'm sure Colapinto has probably got a higher ceiling than Doohan does. But we are basing it off such a small sample size.
I think Doohan was so untested that you can't really say, to be honest.
Yeah. You didn't give Doohan enough time in the car to really bed it in.
I think he showed some good potential at times.
He outqualified Gasly for the first time, and that was enough to sack him, apparently.
He didn't put together a strong weekend. And you can say the same about Sargent. He did have his strong moments, but he couldn't ever put it together in a competitive session. Yeah.
But I think Doohan had more potential than Sargent ever did, personally. And I know we've gone completely off topic here, but can we also just talk about the 5-race contract that Colapinto's been given and how utterly bullshit that is?
Oh god, yeah, he's gonna last a year. Obviously, who's gonna replace him?
Well, I don't know. Flavio Briatore at this rate, he'll hop in the car. But the thing is, and I was watching the Josh Revel video on this just before we started recording, which is a very good video, by the way.
Yeah.
Big up to Josh, love him. But
we do like Josh Revel.
We do love Josh. Josh is a class guy. I've got some stories about Josh. He's great. He's absolutely great. But that's another episode. Anyway, what he was saying was the amount of money that Colapinto's brought in anyway. There's no way they're going to drop him halfway through the season.
They can't.
It would not shock me if the Alpine rocks up to Imola yellow from the Mercado Libre sponsorship that they've now got from getting Colapinto in the car. But
I'm not gonna lie, I do prefer the yellow Renault livery to the Alpine one. That yellow and black. It was
this
so
is the
simple.
opportunity now, though.
It was so simple, but it was so gorgeous.
I'm thinking go further back. You've got yellow of Mercado Libre. You've got the blue of Alpine. You could literally go back to like a 2005
that's what they did
championship winning livery.
For the poster for this weekend, they had the 2005 car, and then they had the
dreaming for far better days. Clearly,
the other car behind it.
That's the thing. I think
Well, Flavio is the team principal again, so I guess it makes
sack
sense.
off BWT, put the yellow on the car, and you've got a stunning livery. I think.
BWT, they love to follow Ocon around.
Yeah. Get a pink Haas car, there you go. Ocon just walks into a meeting, sees the BWT man, he's like, for fuck's sake, not again.
The pink is just fun. Even in Suzuka, he had the pink horse with the flowers, so you just can't get away from it.
Oh, man.
All right, should we move on?
We should move on. I've got one more thing for you, because we're coming towards the end of the episode now, which of course means it's time for...
What random Asian does Soheb look like?
Yay.
You're getting less and less excited about these.
Go on then.
Who do you think?
What Asian do I look like?
There was a lot of submissions this week,
Saddam
actually.
Hussein?
No, we've had the Saddam Hussein one. I've used that one up already.
Yep.
This one is actually someone who I have no idea who it is. I don't actually think it looks much like you at all. But apparently you look like Omar Marmoush, who's a Man City player.
No, I'm not the biggest football fan.
No, I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, and also it doesn't look anything like me.
No,
there's no jawline. The beard is different. Whoever Casper, come on, man, Casper, we expect better from you.
So that was a riveting segment. So let's we'll end it on that disappointment then. Thank you very much for watching Talk Shift. If you want to check out the new Talk Shift merch line, he's modelling it now. You can get a very fat me. I was violated by that. I have been utterly violated, but it's fine. If you want that, if you want to wear me, which is not a sentence I ever thought I'd say when I started my YouTube career, head over to fp1will.com. All of that is on there. You'll be supporting the channel. You'll be helping getting him more meal deals.
And it's a great hat.
It is. The hat is actually banging. The hat is class. We do rate the hat. So go get the hat if you want anything. But that's the best bit in the entire merch line. If you wanted the outtakes reel of this, and there's some stuff we filmed prior to starting this podcast properly, and it's gonna get me in trouble. It's gonna get me in trouble, plain and simple.
Whenever there's a compilation of stuff that I said, it's gonna be quite something.
Yeah. If you want that, then you can become a member here on the YouTube channel, or you can go over to the FP1 Will Patreon and check out the Talk Shift pension fund. It is £1 a month. There are other options on the YouTube site where you can pay more. You get absolutely nothing for that. It's just if you're feeling incredibly generous. Funnily enough, no one has taken up that option. They want to pay £1 a month. But that is an absolute steal for the amount of content that you get on there. And it's also the end of our careers eventually in about 10 years' time when we're all screwed essentially.
And if you can't afford that, like and subscribe.
Exactly. If you can't afford £1 a month, that is fine. You're poor, but that's okay. You can. That's getting them on side. Well done.
It's probably Jane from the.
Yes, it's Jane the Orphan from the Patreon version. If you want to know who Jane the Orphan was, we sent her down a coal mine. It was great. Let's wrap this up before we get in trouble. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And have a good one, everybody.